Welcome to the TTT News Special. I'm DIKE ROSTANT. Thank you for joining us. Now, we're speaking with a blood brother tag team about a lifetime of experiences distilled into a book titled Glimpses of a Mystical Misfit, a Trinidadian search for enlightenment. And it feels kind of wrong to just call him the author, but for the purposes of this conversation, the author is Frederick Dharmbodh Westmaas, and editor-publisher is his brother Jan Westmaas, who is an author in his own right, having penned Out of the Box Tales of Travel 1972 to 2013. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Fine.
Thank you. We're fine.
Thank you.
Happy to be on your show.
Pleasure is mine. Now, Mr. Frederick, this is not the first time that we're speaking, but we're doing it with a little visuals at this point in time. But I want you to describe, though, how do you feel now that the book is published?
Well, a sense of fulfillment, a sense that I've accomplished something that I wanted to do a long, long time ago. And I feel contented.
And contentment is something that many people strive for, so I am grateful that you feel that. And reading through the book, I feel as though I'm witness to an unfolding of self. It's almost as though you're passing through phases, and I might even want to liken it to moving up the chakras. You agree with that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's the right terminology used here. Moving up the chakras from the Muladhara chakra, which is the earth chakra. It mentioned a key part of my life, being down to earth and not thinking anything about spirituality, and then gradually moving up the spine to the other chakras. Yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little more in detail in just a bit, but I want to include Mr. Jan, please. Now, take me through the process of writing and editing the book, please, Jan.
Yes. Okay, well, as you would have known, my brother suffered badly from cataract. Okay? But it was always his wish and his dream to write. So he started on his own, doing jottings on pieces of arborite, maybe 15 inches by 20 inches. And he was a felt pen. So he called me one day and said, I've started on my book. I suggested that he, in fact, use a tape, tape it and send it to me. And he said, no, I'm quite happy writing like this. If you don't mind my sending it to you, and you can edit. Well, that's how it started, and it lasted more than 2 years. And every night or every other night, we would, he would send stuff. I would transcribe it into a Word document and then read it over to him, all over the phone, and he would approve it. Sometimes we would have quarrels because he would say, I didn't write that, but that was just my editing. But eventually, he would be quite happy with my input. And I certainly enjoyed it because I was under his shadow for so many years. I'm 5 years younger. I was at Hillview College when he was in a higher form. In his book, he wrote about his experience at Hillview and in fact being expelled from Hillview. All that is part of the adventure in the book. But to have completed it is a big, a great sense of joy and relief.
And that's one of the things you touched on. One of the things I wanted to ask about, Mr. Jan. 5 years younger, and it seems as though at some point in time you used to be Frederick's little shadow, looking up to Big Brother.
Yes.
Describe that sort of passage of time, evolution, where you are the one being able to provide this sort of help to your bigger brother to make sure that he gets this thing done because it's something that he wanted to do so much.
Yes, well, early in life we grew up in Tiaku, so he was very much into fishing in the Caroni River, and I really wasn't a fisherman. So he was a master at cutting bamboo rods, shaping them, catching the fish, and I used to be really fascinated by that. And the way he would make a slingshot, the way he would fish marbles, I looked up at him. When he became a boxer, and he was quite a good one. I also used to be the only member of the family attending his training sessions at the gym. As far as I recall, I'm the only one who actually ever saw him fight, and he had a number of fights. I think what is important, though, is the fact that after all the adventures he's had, he came right back to my parents, and he looked after them in their last days. My father died in 97, and my mother at 86, and he was the one at home taking care of them. So in a way, I was happy to give him the support, because it really was quite an exercise. Every night, having to read the stuff that was sent to me on WhatsApp, transcribe it into words, read it back over to him, make sure everything is in order, and then to have it come to publication. So that's it.
All right, and we'll get back into that as well, because there's so much to talk about, but so little time. But there is a piece of the book that I want to just quote, please, Mr. Frederick, and I want you to explain that, because people may not have the entire context of the book. So, if you were not conscious and alert, the environment in which you work can influence your mind and behavior in uncanny ways. What is the context of writing that, Mr. Frederick, and what did you mean when you say that?
All right. Now, working in a psychiatric hospital, there's a lot of vibrations. You feel a lot of vibrations. You feel a lot of energy. And you can't deny it. And it does have an effect on you, on your body and on your mind. Now, one has to be alert and aware and be conscious for these things to not have an adverse effect on you. If you're very unconscious and you're not aware, it would filter into you and affect you. So as a psychiatric nurse or as anything for that matter, if you're not conscious, you are functioning from a state where things are apt to influence you very, very easily. So being with the psychiatric patients, first of all, I had to be very, very conscious of myself and how I felt. And when I feel in this state of consciousness, in this state of mind, I was able to empathize better and have a mastery over myself and the situation with me and the psychiatric patient. And things used to happen really spontaneously, even without much thought. I myself would be amazed at how things happened and how things turned out. But it's all about being conscious, being aware of oneself first. If you're not aware of yourself, which is itself a meditation, just witnessing and watching yourself first. Now, this is a different thing to being self-conscious. Being self-conscious is that you are aware, but you're aware of your anxiety, you're aware of your doubt, you're aware of your fears. But being conscious of yourself, you make a direct turnover. The consciousness is always first. In anything, we are conscious first, as conscious beings. And this is where meditation comes into play. Being conscious of oneself, you're dealing directly with a meditative technique of being aware, being conscious.
And definitely this is something that we can actually, I like the fact that you said, yes, it was necessary for you to be conscious like that where you were being a psychiatric nurse, but I think this is something that just spills over into daily life, and it's even more timely in a time when there's such a big disruption to so many ways of being, earning revenue, lifestyles, and being conscious to be able to say, okay, well, this is what I'm feeling. And once you articulate it, you're able to deal with it a little more. We continue the conversation with the Westmaas brothers when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with Frederick and Jan Westmaas. And Frederick has written a book called Glimpses of a Mystical Misfit, a Trinidadian search for enlightenment. And there's something that you said just before we went to break, please, Mr. Frederick. And you spoke about so many things happening spontaneously. So even before you were a psychiatric nurse, or that was even an idea in your mind, it seems as though there would have been occasions where something happened spontaneously. And you listened to a voice that said, okay, well, and you tell this person that, because there was a person who, it seems as though she had suicidal ideations. There was another one where you would have encountered some fellows on a vehicle, and you put your hand behind as though you had a razor, them have razor, you have razor as well. How easy or how difficult is it to listen to that voice that urges you in these moments so that things are able to happen spontaneously?
Yeah. Well, that's a very, very good question, yeah, because I myself wonder how these things used to happen to me so spontaneously. Like, for instance, going to a grandchild, as I would say, and responding in these ways. And but as a young kid, this is natural with every human being. It doesn't only refer to people who are so-called spiritual or who are seeking truth. It happens to everybody, but very few people pay attention to it. Spontaneity and naturalness is something that when we can develop it consciously through meditation and through understanding, then that's a different thing. But every little kid had that naturally within them. I used to see it not only with me, but with other friends. And I used to, although there's times it used to say, hey, look how they did that so easy. And look how this happened. I wish I could do it so easy. So I used to notice also my friends having these situations. But when you're doing it, when you understand it and you try to understand it and you try to go with that flow, then it's a different realm of understanding, a different journey you're taking. You're taking a conscious journey into your understanding yourself and your mind, which is totally different.
And speaking about journeys, there's the journey of the book, there's the journey of publishing the book. And Jan, I want to include you again, please, in terms of where is the book available? How can people be a part, engage with this, and say, okay, well, yes, I have it. I'm reading it.
Yes, could you repeat that? I missed it.
Where do people get the book? How can we access the book?
Right. Okay. Good. That's a fundamental question. Well, Nigel has copies. He has a few branches. Then it's on the internet, but only e-copies. RIK is supposed to have copies. Other than that, you just get directly in contact with my brother or myself.
And how do people do that? How do people get directly in contact with you?
Ring me at 741-0998, or you can ring my brother at 227-8147. He lives in Dharmbodh, I live in San Fernando. And online, you go into Amazon if you want to get an e-version. You have a Kindle.
All right,
so that's it.
And it's very, very straightforward. But I want to ask though, what are some of the things that stand out most for you during the process of reliving some of these experiences? Because sometimes I can see you looking at these things and I really do that, boy. This really happened, boy. So in terms of going through and unearthing some of these memories and passing through these experiences more as an onlooker as opposed to someone who's directly in that moment. And I'll ask both of you, please. I'll start off with you, please, Frederick.
There's no doubt about it. The sense of humor plays such an important part, because when I read over and listen to some of the audios on the internet about the writing, and I think to myself, oh my God, this is so hilarious, this is so amusing and humorous. I wish if I had that humor at that moment, which I did have at other times, but that was later on in life. I could have seen the humor in all my experiences. But earlier on, the humor wasn't there. It was a sense of seriousness or a sense of ego. And but as I would always say, that sense of humor, that sense of awareness, that it is our big play that is happening to me, and I just need to understand and enjoy it.
And I'll ask you the same, please, Jan.
I want to add that, for instance, when he writes about the storming of Fetch, that part of his life, right? As a young boy growing up, I mean, it's something that both myself and friends in the village used to want to do. We knew that he was up to that, and he would be going to these fets on the East and Arena, St. Augustine, even the country club. And we wanted to be part of it. And we knew that if you wanted to go there and you didn't have money or you didn't have any invitation, the best way is to follow this guy who was my big brother. and I followed him.
No.
I would hate to think what my parents, what they would say if they knew what we were up to.
I find
So
it
the
so...
episodes storming the arena tennis court, the episode at the country club, that was another one because that had all the race issues because we were all a mixed, a motley group, right? And some of the friends who went in, I was just before 1970. One of our friends, Roderick guy, his name is light brown in color. When we jumped in, he turned to me and he said, "Jan boy, only white people here, let's get out." Now at this time, my brother is enjoying himself dancing with a group of Australians, and he's happy, he's at ease. Because the whole issue of color, and I'm sure he was aware of it, but he was more concerned with having a good time. And so imagine storming a fest and storming back out. The episode at the hotel, though I wasn't there, but that was a pretty sad one because as you wrote that, he ended up having spent a night in jail for that one because the guard had abused him, and then he retaliated being a boxer. So there's so many
and there's so many
funny,
things, but one of the things, I think we're doing a bit of wickedness in the sense that, and I am just enjoying that look on Frederick's face because, and I see that wicked, that mischievous grin as it's going through his mind again. But I think we're actually doing people a wickedness or a piece of wickedness because it's almost as though we're giving you a slight smell of food, but you're not even getting to see the plate. And this is a story that encapsulates, is autobiographical, and it looks at your development as a human, as an individual, and starting off, dropping out of Hillview, looking at the fact that you were a prize fighter at one point in time, a boxer, even before that you used to be an ace fisherman and swimming, and then moving on to England to be a psychiatric nurse, interacting with patients in a way that helped them be a lot more of their best selves without the use of drugs, which I think is also important. And you, throughout this process, you're able to drop some kind of names in terms of like being related to Sailor Mia, being related to Noble Khan, being able to be related to so many masked men and women, and having these sorts of interactions with people. And at some point in time, if somebody else wrote it in a different style, it could feel like you're just name dropping. You're trying to be important. I know this person, I know that person, but that is not the energy that we get. A little while earlier, Frederick, you spoke about ego. Even looking at the fact that Osho was your master at a point in time. How easy is it, or what is the work that is required to leave that ego and step out of it kind of like a butterfly leaving a cocoon?
Yeah. I didn't hear that last part.
What?
The voicemail,
You said something about butterfly leaving a cocoon, but
yes.
you didn't hear before that.
So in the last minute we have, I want to ask, how easy is it to leave your ego alone?
Just in theory alone is quite easy. You just witness it and let it go. But the practice is you have to be alert and just understand that it is not you, the real you, that is working there. It is just you, a totality of your feelings and your emotions and your ideas. The real you is the one that can watch that play of thought and feelings. The real you is the witness. And if you could understand what it is to be a witness, like right now I'm speaking, but I'm just watching at how I'm talking, I'm watching. So in a sense, I am meditating. I'm spontaneously looking at myself, talk about meditation to you, and I'm describing it to you. And this is actually a form of meditation, just witnessing oneself. And after a while, it becomes so natural that you don't have to make an effort. The witnessing happens on its own. And this goes on. If you can do that for 24/7, you're already enlightened. But I will share yet.
And I don't think anybody has reached theirs yet, but I will say, though, that we have reached, sadly, to the end of this conversation. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much, and I want to encourage you, if you are looking or hearing this, to check out that book, Glimpses of a Mystical Misfit, and it is written, it is something that is very enlightening, and I use that word pun intended. But thank you for joining us on behalf of the entire news team. This has been the TTT News Special.